Welcome back to Right Hand Drive, guys. I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
Yo.
And this is episode 53. And why do I sound so pumped?
Why?
Because we just got back from Japan, man.
Yeah, we did.
Although I do have a bit of Japression, you could say. Depressed I'm not in Japan still.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
But
I'm feeling it.
we had to come home. There's always work to do. But let me tell you, we really packed some stuff into this trip.
Dude, yeah.
Like, we're going to do our best not to make this super long, but we had a blast. And if you've been following along on Instagram or Facebook or any of the other socials, then you kind of got a little sneak peek into what our trip was like.
Yeah.
And, dude, it was wild. And really, I want to, real quick, right off the bat, I want to shout out Jesse and Jay, because we kind of went with not, as if you listen to the episode about we're going to Japan, we didn't go with like a huge itinerary of things to do.
Yeah.
You would have thought we did with the way that, like everything that we did, you would have thought there's no way that some of that was just on the fly.
Right.
Yeah, but it really was. And so if you remember from episode 51, Aaron had searched high and low for a great deal on a flight. And as I said, I had points, so my flight was straight. I knew what to expect. No surprises there. But Aaron ventured out and did something a little new. How'd it go?
Yeah, I had to do a little bit of hustling, but nothing's wrong with that. I ended up flying out of the local airport rather than, as you did, drive a couple hours to the bigger city, get the straight flight.
Yep.
I flew out of the smaller airport, flew out of Portland, and flew into Detroit.
D-Town?
And from there, straight to Haneda.
Yeah, which was definitely new because I only fly into Narita because that's just where they fly out of Boston, where they land. So that was new. What's Haneda like?
Dude, it is insanely huge. Like, I got a window seat on the way there, so I got to look out and, kind of see the lay of the land as it came into view, so that was cool.
Waiting the whole time.
Yes.
9 hours later.
Yes.
Oh,
dude.
I see it.
Exactly. So, first thing I noticed, dude, it seemed like half the airport was on the water. Like, it was, on built up on the water. And
That's
it was
crazy.
just like, dude, it was just insane how many runways they had, how many planes were flying in and flying out. And
Like all at once,
all
pretty
at
much.
once, dude. Just so many moving pieces with these giant freaking planes, dude. It was kind of like, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of understand why those planes collided there, because there's just so much going on.
Yeah, it has to be very on point or else a mistake can happen.
Right.
Yeah, so he flies into Haneda, and then what, you took like a limousine bus or something?
Yeah, the limousine bus. And that was, dude, that was pretty easy.
That was the way to go?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I was stressing about it, just getting on a bus, going to the correct airport, and getting on the correct bus and all that. I was just kind of nervous about it, just because I've never done it before, never had to experience it. But yeah, dude, it was a breeze. There's a bus terminal right outside. You can buy tickets at like a little kiosk, or, go straight to the desk, and the lady was super helpful. You just say Narita. They know where you want to go.
Yeah.
Narita.
True.
And, confirmed that the time was good. And yeah, it's simple as that. 15 minutes or about half an hour from getting off the plane, I was on a bus and headed north to Narita.
That's definitely quick. Yeah. The Japanese are for sure very efficient when it comes to getting through the airport. Like, I have never been to such a big airport leaving and walked straight through security. It's so wild. Crazy. Like, there's not a line to be seen.
Yeah.
It's like really blows my mind. So he jumps on the bus. He heads over to Narita. I get off the plane. I get through customs. I'm on the other side. He's already there.
Yep.
I exchange some cash. We get out, we jump in a taxi immediately because we got to head to Noda and pick up the car from Yasu at Top Rank. So that was like the taxi ride was what, hour and a half, 2
Yeah,
hours.
yeah. What happened? Whenever he first gave you the time, it was 2 hours. Would you slip him a tip? And he said, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. You got a little cheat code there, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So he's like trying to tell me it's going to be 2 hours, right? And then I'm like, nah, there's got to be a faster way. Like,
Right.
I don't want to keep Yasu at work past 6, which is when he gets off from work. I've done that before. He's great about it, but I wouldn't want to wait after work, even if I did, you know? But I was like, no faster way? Like, is there a faster way? Can we get there faster? Yeah. And then, an extra 500 yen will get you there a little faster.
Dude, that's it?
Yeah.
That's all that took?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We ended up getting there in like an hour and a half.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, and he was whipping. He was doing his thing. So, we get the car from Top Rank. Of course, we hit a Conbini immediately because
first 7-Eleven in sight.
Yeah, that's what we're waiting for. We're trying to get. Me personally, I'm trying to get the ongiri with the tuna and the mayonnaise, and then I also go for the pork and cucumber sandwich. And then of course we hit the coffees. I can remember specifically like being back in there and looking for them immediately. Like it's like the best feeling. And so we had a quite a long drive, like a 2.5, almost hour drive over to the Yokohama West Inn, which is where we stayed our first 4 nights. 4 nights. So we kind of got over there. We got settled in, and I think we just kind of ended up like taking it easy, passing out, just because it had been such a long travel day. Of course, woke up at 5 a.m., decided to hit the gym. Only day we hit the gym on the trip, but whatever, dude.
Had to
We
get
hit
those
the
legs
gym in
working
Japan.
after that plane ride, had to set us up right for like the days ahead, because I mean, I feel like after sitting for that long on the plane, like you got to do something to get back moving, right?
Oh, for sure.
I think it definitely did us some good.
So, at this point, we kind of hit another Conbini. Or no, we hit City Bakery, actually, and we got breakfast, which was somewhere I had hit on the previous trip, and I really thought it was great.
Yeah.
We, very affordable, have everything you need, not a bunch of extra stuff.
Yeah. Dude, they had this... loosely described it as a hot dog wrapped in a croissant, dude.
Yeah.
The best thing I ever had for breakfast in my life.
Oh, man, because it was,
so
it was
crispy and just...
Great. Yeah. So we ended up hitting that pretty much every morning that we were at the Westin, just because they had so many options that we could just kind of try everything.
Yeah.
But at this point, we had, 2 internet friends, you could say at that point, that we met on Instagram, of course, similar interests, and they were going to be there at the same time, and they were definitely gracious enough to pretty much let us tag along with what they were doing. And we met them over at the Hilton and lined up all the cars, and they're like, we got something real cool going on today. And I'm like, all right, sweet. They're like, oh, we're going to Daigo Sato's.
Yeah.
We're like, what?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I said. I was like, wait, what? Like the Daigo?
Like
the Daigo Saito?
The man?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to the man's place? Okay.
Yeah.
So, whatever. We jump in the car and follow him over, and we pull into Daigo's shop.
Yeah.
And we're just like, oh, damn, okay.
Yeah,
I
dude.
mean, it's like a unassuming metal building. Like, you wouldn't really think that inside he's building full carbon Kevlar Toyota Supras and, all
with
kinds.
gold wing doors.
Yes, and all kinds of
Yeah, I mean, out
other
front
stuff.
was an R35 GTR like drift car, which is kind of
not
really
Yeah.
done much. That was wild to see. And then, you look inside and you just see trophies all over the wall.
and
like,
big checks.
Big checks, dude. Boxes of medals, like just thrown about.
Literally,
like
it was crazy.
And right next to his JZX 100.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he had the Monster, whoever else that was sponsored by.
Yeah.
But he had the car in like the office side of the shop. And then, I was showing my wife earlier because she's like, you guys went where? And I'm like, I pull up a picture and I'm just like scrolling across the picture, just huge trophies, just lining every wall.
Yeah.
It was
every
wild.
wall, dude. And
every wall.
And you look at it, and it's not just, like Formula Drift Japan. No, dude, it's like Indonesia, China, like all these crazy, like, it's world renowned, dude. He is a world renowned driver.
He's a beast, and he welcomed us with open arms.
Yeah.
Like he was totally
there. He was there too.
A regular dude.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. And so what I didn't realize is their plan was to go to the Fat Five or Fat Finger, Fat Five.
No, Fat Five land. Fat
yeah,
Five
that's what I thought. Fat Five land, Fat Finger land. Yeah. And actually drift some of the Miatas, which I had just seen like 2 days prior on Instagram. And I'm like, dude, this is full circle. Like, see this on Instagram, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool. He's got like a small drift pad, blah, blah, blah. And then to be standing there 2 days later.
Right.
And if you haven't seen it, follow him on Instagram. And it is just, it's a beautiful spot.
Dude, it's insane. You pull up, and the first little garage is like this full glass front.
Like floor to ceiling,
and it's just like, I forget the complete models, but Ferraris, Lamborghinis, all bagged, slammed. They're all red. They all look like
2 Lambos and 3
sick.
Ferraris.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was just insane.
And they're all the older ones. Nothing new. It's all the older ones. And yes, every single one is tucking tire.
Yeah,
and just looks so nasty, like so nasty. And then he had 2 like red bikes over there too.
He had an MV Agusta and Ducati just chilling on the corner. Like,
it was wild.
Probably just because they were red.
Right, yeah, because they were. And so on top of this is almost like an observation deck / patio, cookout spot, whatever, right? And so I can imagine like they probably have some parties or have.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and across the way from that was like they had a grotto and hot tub with like a slide going into it and like a full overhang.
That was supposedly designed and constructed by the Disney engineers.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah, that's what they said.
What?
I was like, dang.
And you could tell, like, the way the rocks were formed and everything. It's like,
I literally, when we got there, I said it looked like something from Disney. And then, like, 30 minutes later, they're talking about that. And I'm like, wow, like, it was a beautiful place. And then beyond that, he had a huge bar hangout place that was all designed and decorated in like some Americana type stuff on the inside, and he had
lots
old
of
cars sitting there. It was like a vibe all on its own.
Oh, and then there was this random garage right off to the side. He opens that up, and it's this R32 that believe it's 2J swapped, that he had like tubed out the entire front end, moved the engine back, like way back, like the probably cylinder 2 was at the firewall.
Yeah, it was
converted to left-hand drive, which was kind of like, what?
Yeah, it was like, a wild thing.
It was a whole, I mean, it was a lot of fab and a lot of
we didn't even
work.
expect that. We just blew out some tires on the Miata, and they had to change them, and that's where the jack was.
Dude, it was like, and
So
they pop it up, it's like, what?
Holy moly, that's a 32 for sure. So, yeah, I mean, and so when we went there, the whole point is because Jesse was going to drift one of the Miatas because he knows Daigo and had set something up with him. So it was like an hour and a half, and he took everybody that was with us, Sandy, Jay, me, Aaron, all of us. We all got to take some rides, and he whipped us around, and I mean, he was getting it. Yeah. Like he was doing pretty good. And of course they had snow tires on the pigs so that like, they're soft and smoky and all that. So that made it, I think, a little bit more fun. But so when we went there, they had dropped off this 86. Yeah. Like they had brought the tow truck over, they drop off an 86, and we're like, huh. We were just speculating, like, I wonder what that's for. Like,
right.
Oh, you think he's going to come later? Like, not knowing what the plan is whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so, we're getting done, and all of a sudden, all these Benzes start rolling in, like left and right.
Dude,
like,
one of them was a completely stock 7 Series BMW convertible with a welded diff. I was like, what the heck is going on with that?
That's it.
And then, Jesse or Jay was like, yeah, that's Daigo for you.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a Daigo car for sure. Like he's got to have everything with a welded
yeah, and slammed.
Yeah, so these guys start coming in, pulling in, and we're like, oh, dude, he's here.
Yeah, the man's here.
Dude, that is what the 86 is for.
Yeah.
And so he pulls it out and starts it up, and he's like, jogging it a bit. He's trying to get her warmed up to temp. He doesn't want to blow anything up, and we're like, dude, we're about to see this man just go ham. Well, little did we know he's actually selling the car, and it was a test drive for the drifter who was buying the car.
Right. And dude, yeah, the car was nasty. It had the craziest sounding 2J that I've ever witnessed in person. I mean, it just sounded insane. And,
oh yeah, it did.
Dude, it had 20s on the back, and it was spinning them up like it was nothing.
Oh, dude, this thing was like manic, dude. It was like,
yeah.
Like it was just like the craziest like display of a car that I've seen like that.
Yeah, it was wild. The dude took one run in it, and it sounded crazy. But then he pulls over to Daigo. Daigo does something to it, and it starts idling different. He takes back off, dude, and it's making these crazy crackles and bangs. And dude, I was like, dude, they must have turned it up, dude. Holy cow, this must be like the kill mode.
Yeah, because he was just slinging that thing, dude. He had to stop because he couldn't, like,
dude, so much tire smoke.
He only went around like twice, maybe 3 times, and the whole place was filled with smoke, the whole inside of the car. He's like getting out, coughing, like waving the smoke away and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, now that is a car built, like purpose built for sure.
Dude, the Miata compared to that, put out no smoke.
Oh, dude. it was like
compare.
The Miata was a tricycle, dude. Like, wow. Yeah, it was a blast though. And so, this guy tries it out, and we're just pretty much spectating. We lined up the GTRs in front of his garage with all of the red cars in it. And then we took our pictures, and then he came over and got a picture with us. And we're like, oh, shoot. Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, let's take this picture. And so that was like, for sure, bucket list type event, where,
because he's the man.
Oh, well, obviously. I mean, I didn't even realize the extent of it until I saw all those trophies and checks, and I was like, dude, this man has like attended some events and walked away with the hardware like every time. Yeah. Like, and I remember when we saw him at Matt Surrey. Yeah. And it was just like, oh yeah, that he's like famous drifter or whatever. But like, he wasn't out there like putting on a show. He was, I don't know if he was there for support or what he was doing, but so to like go there and like see all of his stuff and just like hang out was,
dude, the best way I could put it, he's the Japanese Dale Earnhardt.
Right, yeah, for sure. I mean, I could see that. And he
drives like it too.
Yeah, he had the Dale Earnhardt memorabilia in the garage.
Yeah, he did.
Too.
He did.
It was pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, I would say, and then I noticed Hoonigan went a few days after us and hung out with him, and that was just that was pretty wild moment. I was for sure taking on.
Yeah, and that's something we didn't even plan of. We didn't even know that was going to happen until that morning.
Yeah, that was like for sure. He hooked that up, and again, he took us along for all of his stuff. So, after a little bit, the sun was going down. We peeled out of Daigo's and we went to A Pit Shinomi. Yeah, and we hadn't been there before. We somehow over a period of 4 weeks that I had been there, I had never stopped at this.
I don't think it was open
the
first time we went.
Oh, because of
Golden It's pretty new. Like, it's new. Yeah, it's a new.
I guess it looked it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure,
I mean, 100%. It has a Starbucks in the middle. Yeah,
and a whole bookstore.
Yeah, it's like, kind of wild. Yeah, like, and tons of apparel, like North Face and just different brands. So, but the top floor was like our spot. That's where they had like from wall to wall everything that there was something for everybody.
Right,
I would say.
right. They had dude. Every major Japanese manufacturer had its own little section. You know, they had the STI stuff. They had the TRD, Tom stuff. They had
HKS,
Nismo,
Endless,
and then beyond that, they had HKS, Endless, like
a bunch of other stuff.
Just insane.
Racing helmets, racing shoes, racing jackets.
A full assortment of Nardi wheels,
even little keychains that looked like the wheels.
Yes,
but they definitely had an awesome selection. I would recommend going there. They have wash bays, they have detailing bays, they also have different bays for fixing things, and they'll do it right on site.
Yeah,
I mean, I wish we had something like that.
Dude,
it was sweet.
It'd be cool. I'd go there to just hang out, just like they do, right?
Yeah, and so I went inside to check it out, and apparently while I was inside, there was already, when I came outside, there was like 6 or 7, different cars. There was some GTRs, there was some different stuff, and apparently while I was in there, there was like another 5 or 6 that were there at that time. Yeah, it was
just wild. The stuff that would come through. Like at one point, 2 R35 Liberty Walk R35s pulled up, just parked, aired
pretty
out,
crazy.
And just walked away.
The front lift was literally sitting on the ground.
And then beyond that, just random other these just JDM classic cars, dude. They're just there, just in and out or coming in, getting whatever they need, getting their Starbucks.
Yeah,
dude, I would go there just for the Starbucks.
Yeah, I would too. That would be like because then you got an excuse to go. And if you're walking out with a little more than Starbucks, we're like, well, babe, I got you Starbucks.
Yeah.
So after this, we went to Akihabara.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been there yet.
Right, I haven't either.
So this was another like new thing that Jesse and Jay kind of introduced us to, and we were able to experience. And so there was a parking garage that they had already pre-organized, and I didn't even realize this. They had already pre-organized like 3 photographers to be at this parking garage. And so it was a whole shoot of all 3 of our cars together and then individually. Yeah. And, it was like a super dope experience because the cars were getting like full focus on them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at one point, like when we pulled up, they were like, all right, yeah, we're just going to shoot. We were like, all right, we're going to go eat.
Yeah.
And they just did their thing. And then they were still shooting once we got back out. And
yeah, they were for like
pulled out all the cars, and one by one, dude, just taking more and more shots of them. And they were stoked.
Like, it was a sweet experience. And then, 3 days later, they started posting them.
Yeah.
And like, obviously we were sharing and whatnot, but like, I was like, whoa, like that guy was actually really good.
Yeah.
Like I don't know who they are, but they definitely did a great job.
Yeah. 100%. Those dudes killed it.
So yeah, that was a pretty cool experience, just as far as, going with some friends to this parking garage and getting your car shot.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen all the time.
No, not at all. But it's not all the time you're driving an R34 JDI.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So at this point, it was like late. And so we went our separate ways with Jesse and Jay and made a plan to kind of meet him at Tokyo Auto Salon.
Yeah.
Because we went early.
Right.
So we got up, we went to Tokyo Auto Salon the next day. But the general admission wasn't until 2 p.m. Right. So we had like a little bit of time that morning to just kind of do our thing, just get ready for a long day, because we also knew we had some other stuff coming up that night.
Yeah.
But we got there right around 2. I mean, I thought that it was busy, but then when we went the next day, I realized that actually wasn't busy.
Yeah.
But so we checked everything out, and then Jesse, Jay, and Sandy came, and we kind of rechecked everything out with them.
Yeah.
But we were on a pretty strict time limit because we wanted to make the Tokyo Underground meet. That was sure that was the priority.
Right.
So yeah, around like I believe 5:36 ish, we like all rushed to the underground meet, which was at a Aeon Mall at the parking garage.
Yeah.
And I mean, they had a pretty decent setup as far as getting people in there, getting people parked.
Right.
We were luckily there earlier than a lot of people, so we got like a primo parking space in like the main event.
Yeah.
Whereas some, you know, so basically the way that this worked is it's like invite only in order to be on like the main floor.
Right.
And otherwise you park the floor down or the floor under that and you're spectating at that point. And we originally were told we were going to get to be in the main event, and then we were told, no, I don't think there's enough room for you, which I also got because we were in a 34 with wheels, and like that's cool, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of cool cars in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when we got there, Jesse wheeled and dealed, and he
Yeah.
got us all in there.
Dude,
you know,
he did.
he did. So again, shout out to Jesse, because we wouldn't have been in the main event if he hadn't have got us in there. And that was in itself, like, man, there was some cars there.
Dude, yes. I mean, there's cars that I 100% did not expect to see.
Yeah, I would say.
Like the R31 silhouette.
Or
like,
the new Hyperforce
the
concept.
Hyperforce that I didn't even know was a thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. You're like, what
I was
is
like,
that?
what? That's that thing that was out at whatever, Ours Day.
Yeah,
or whatever.
no,
like,
no,
you're
no.
like, no, dude, what are you talking
That's
about?
a fully electric Skyline. And so, yeah, it was wild to see that. We never would have thought that Nissan would have brought out two of its treasures
Right.
to this like underground meet. But that's how like exclusive and how hype this meet is.
Right.
Is that Nissan was a part of it without being a part of it.
Yeah, 100%. It's like I was thinking, like, how do they even get this? Like, how? What? Who set this up? How did this even like make it
Why
out
is
here?
this here? Yeah.
Why is this here?
So it come to find out it was Larry Chen who like hooked that up, and he was actually shooting the Hyperforce earlier that day for something else that he was doing, and course Nissan somehow to be involved. And
dude, so insane.
Yeah, and so there was a ton, you know, Albo was out there, you know, Mickey Andretti was out there. There was a ton of people. Dustin Williams was out there
with the Evo, and he parked next to the RX-7 that had the Fortune kit and painted up like Hans.
Yeah. So it was legit.
Yeah, and that they also had Brian's R34 from Too
Skyline.
Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah.
So seeing those three cars together was just like, wow, this is like a movie.
Yeah, for sure. It came full circle, like absolutely. And so there was a bunch of cool cars downstairs too.
Yeah.
I mean, there really was like so many cool cars. We could go on for days about the Tokyo Underground meet, but all I can say is that it was, I hope not, but I would say a once in a lifetime like opportunity to be in Tokyo on top of a parking garage with some of the best cars that you've ever wanted to see.
100%. And dude, yeah, I see people complaining about that meet and the lighting and how they couldn't
get their cell phone
pics and like, dude,
man, there was like
they need
8
to put
RWD Porsches.
Dude, put your phone down and look with your eyes and just take it in. Like, dude, forget the picture with these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, just fully immerse yourself in what you're doing and like realize that this isn't a thing that's going to happen all the time.
Right. Like, yeah, it's cool. Social media. Yeah. All right. You're the first one, you know, whatever. But like, yeah, those mental pictures and memories and the discussions that you could have, like the people we met that night, if we had just solely been worried about photos, it never would have happened. So yeah, I mean, I think some people need to chill on that. It was, it was the vibe that they were going for.
Right.
They, you know, I mean, yeah, could they have used 1 or 2 more lights? Sure. But they were using what they could with what they had. There was not many outlets out there.
Right.
So they had to use the outlets for other things. So then they're running these big balloon style lights off batteries, and batteries are dying.
Because it's so cold.
Because it was freezing.
Dude, I was an icicle.
Yes, like you were so cold. Yeah, your teeth were chattering. I heard it. But yeah, I mean, it was for sure a blast, and we didn't get home that night till 1:30, maybe 2 a.m. Like
Yeah.
that was a late one. But
dude.
well worth it.
Had
like,
a convening dinner for sure.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we then the next day we hooked back up with Jesse and Jay.
Yep.
They were like, "Hey, we're hitting Omari Factory," and we had already went, right?
No.
No, okay. So that was the first time.
Yes.
We went a second time?
No, just once.
Wow. I see that trip was so crazy, man. I can't.
We were there
hardly
for a
remember.
long time.
Yeah, we were. We were there. Jay got a new Nismo carbon fiber blade for his car. I picked up a new steering wheel and some other bits for my car.
Yeah.
And we just looked around and stared and drooled and used the bathroom 8 times because it's so cool.
Seriously.
Yeah. And so that was cool too. We got some pictures of the cars and, you know, the iconic Nismo sign and all that good stuff. And so at that point, we kind of had to split off. We went back to Tokyo Auto Salon.
Yeah.
We had to record the episode that you guys heard last week. We did that. And then we met back up with Jesse and Jay.
Yep.
And so that night, the plan was there was this parking garage meet, which I figured I kind of got because obviously in Too Fast, Too Furious, they show it, you know, but this was a lot different in the sense of the parking garage layout. Like what you, of course, would love to see is this big, wide open parking garage where like you can park all the cars together and basically have a meet. This was different. This was like single and double spots on the right and left of like a hallway kind of that went in like
confusing.
a big circle. And so then you could go up to the next level and it's like a big circle. And so this was 2 levels of a car meet.
Yeah.
There was so many people in some spots.
Dude.
Like you've never seen so many people in a parking garage. Like shoulder to shoulder, nut to butt. Like there was people everywhere.
Yeah, and then every once in a while, a normal car would try to drive through because it's where they have to pay to park or whatever.
Like they were in the shopping center all day, and then they come out and they're like,
"Whoa!"
What? you could just see the looks on their faces. They're like, what the hell is going on in here? Like, they would just slowly have to come through, and the crowd would like peel to each side,
Dude,
like around them.
Crazy.
Yeah, like even and so if you're watching on YouTube, I'll definitely overlay some of this footage and stuff, and you can see that it was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, dude, and it was a pretty tight lot because like even normal cars or some of these cars leaving, they would have to do a 2-3 point like pull out.
Yeah, they would.
It was like
and it wasn't
mess,
just because of the
dude.
people. It was just this narrow hallway. It was very
Dude, it was
weird.
like one of the worst parking garages I've ever been in.
But like
so confusing.
The vibe overall.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
I didn't. Yeah.
Wild, dude. Like it was just. We unfortunately didn't get our cars in. You know, Jesse did us right on everything else, but he just couldn't manage to get us entry into this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, much love to him. Anyways, we still had a great time. We also met up with Robert Frost, the guy that we bought the S14 from. So that was cool. We met up with my buddy Jasser, who I've always been friends with. He was from where we're from, and then he moved down to work for NASCAR in North Carolina. So he was also there. That was super cool to see him. And then we also saw Chris, right?
Yeah, Chris, which we've talked a bit on Instagram. He's from this area, but he's living in Japan.
Yep. And he's about to move back and bring his FD. So we're pumped to have another local guy with a right-hand drive car. And so, you know, it's like small world. Like when you have this like interest like this and there are these super desirable events, it brings everybody out, and you wouldn't even realize it till you're there.
And then also Jasser knew Jesse as well.
Yeah,
like
Dude,
just everyone kind of like
everybody knew each other in some way.
or was a friend of a friend, or like it was so insane because like we're so far away from home and
like so far.
Yeah, and just seeing people that I don't know, just that were familiar. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, the cars, they bring people together.
They
So,
really
that's
do. And
part of it.
that's like the biggest, I always knew, but that's definitely the biggest thing I've learned over this past trip was that the cars really bring people together, and there really isn't much like, I don't know, I'm too cool for you or your car's not cool enough. Like it's pretty legit. Like it really makes you feel good. So we had a blast there. Then we had to get our car out of the upper parking lot by 11:30. So then we parked them outside of that on the side of the road, and there was like, you know, Jesse, Jay, me, there was Albo, there was other, you know, some other guys, and there's just the dopest cars with their four-ways on just on the side of the road in Japan. Like, it's just stuff we don't ever get to see until we're exposed to it like that. And so at this point, you know, it's, again, super late, and we knew that the next day we had some stuff we were going to do. Jesse and Jay went down to Space Auto. I guess they brought Amelia Hartford down there to check out a car that she was interested in, and then dropped her off at her hotel. And we all, you know, Aaron and I went and did a little souvenir shopping, checked out A-Pit again, you know, just kind of did our thing. And then we all met back up at Fuji Speedway Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a beautiful spot.
Dude, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, not just like the track view, like that's dope. The Fuji view, just as dope.
Yeah.
But just like the amenities and like the place itself, the museum.
Yeah.
Like it was all really nice.
Yeah.
And new, dude, obviously.
Crazy. If you're a car dude, like, and you're into Japanese cars and you're in Japan, just go there. Like,
shoot, they got a NASCAR in there,
dude,
too.
They got a NASCAR in there, too.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
But yeah, the museum and just like the experience of the room and like the little tweaks, like the like all the switches were on this like switchboard that looks like it would be in a car.
Yeah,
like,
it was cool.
Just the little touches like that. That place is definitely cool. Like, if
and not super expensive, to be honest. Like it's really quite the value.
Yeah, and if you're on there, if you're there the right day and you get the track view, you never know what you might see on track just ripping around because it's right at
over
the final turn,
Panasonic corner.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't imagine the people that were there for that weekend that didn't know anything was going on.
Yeah, and then we're all just like whipping around. Yeah, that is cool, right? Because even if it's not some, you know, super GT race, it's like a legit. It's legit, you know. Yeah. So we had our first real dinner there. The whole trip, we only literally had one sit-down dinner. Yeah. The rest of the time, we pretty much ate at Conveni's.
Yes.
Which is what we said we were going to do, and we stuck to it.
We did it.
Yeah. And so then we got some rest because we knew the next day was going to be extremely epic, which it was. The Fuji... or the Top Rank Fuji Speedway track day.
Yeah.
Like, and Top Rank really brought it. Like, they definitely did it. And the surprises didn't stop coming pretty much. And so, you know, we pretty much got there. We did a safety meeting, signed up for insurance, checked the pressure in the tires, and then it was pretty much time to go out.
Yeah.
And so... I did 2 like 30-minute sessions. Aaron did 1 like 30-minute session, and I mean the car for the most part held up. At that point, it had mostly held up, but we did run out of gas, and unfortunately, the gas station in Fuji was not operating, so we had to go outside the gate and. We kind of drag our feet a little bit because we didn't know if that was the only one. And we, you know, and then I remembered there was a 30-minute media session after that. And I was like, oh, dude, we got to get fuel.
Yeah.
Because this isn't going to work. Right. And so when he came off the track, there was the ABS and the battery light was on. And we're like, oh, well, whatever. The ABS probably just because we're mashing on it. And the battery, well, shoot, hopefully the alternator didn't go. Right. So I grab the car, I pull it through the pits. And, well, I took it around a slow lap, and then I pull it through the pits and out into a parking space. And as I'm pulling through the pits, I noticed my MFD, which is a multifunction display. It's that little screen on the 34 GTRs. I noticed it go out, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, all right. And then I noticed like heaping amounts of smoke coming out of like the plastic like kind of retainer that keeps it in there. And I'm like, holy shit, what is going on? Like, is this thing on fire? And I immediately like turn off the car and sit there, and like the smoke was obviously just from some sort of capacitor or something blowing out. There wasn't an actual fire. But I was like, dude, what is going on? So at this point, again, I realized, well, we need gas in order to be able to do this media day regardless.
Yeah.
And the battery light's on and the MFD's burnt out. And I'm like, dude, if you just want to go grab some gas, that would be really cool right now. Because I don't even want to be around this car. So, like, you know.
You came up to me and you were like, dude, the MFD just caught on fire. And I'm like, trying to think of what car was the MFD that was on the track. I'm like,
do you mean the FDRX?
Like, what are you saying? You're like, no, dude, like the screen just burned. I'm like, whoa, no.
So he goes and gets fuel for it, brings it back. And then I ask Manuel, who is the sales advisor for Top Rank. I'm like, hey, can you get one of the mechanics to come check this out? Yeah. Because they had a full service, like mechanics and tools and everything at your disposal to make sure your car was running tip top so that you could get around the track. And so they check it out and they're like, yeah, no, it's overcharged. You need to like run electronics, turn on your headlights, like pretty much decharge the battery a bit if you can. And we're like, oh yeah, cool, like sweet, like now this makes sense, right? It was an overload on the MFD, an electrical component that's 25 years old, just couldn't handle it.
Yeah. For sure. And just running the car at high RPM like that probably hasn't been ran like that in a long time, if it ever has.
Right.
So yeah, things will
happen. So we were beating on the 34 GTR pretty much. But, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes to have fun, you got to spend a little money or fix something. It just, that's how it goes. But, man, again, like, June from Kaido House was there. Dustin Williams was there. Mickey Andretti was there. Brian Janisch was there. Yeah. Like, the Built by Legends guys were there. Everybody was there.
Larry Chen was there. Garage Yoshida, the guy that runs that, was there as well.
Yeah. So you had like, and then the founder of Mines was there. All of a sudden, the founder of Mines comes out of this back room.
Yeah, with his Bridgestone jacket.
With a mask on and some loafers, dude. Suits up into the legendary Mines race suit, dude. Yeah, puts on the Mines helmet and gives Larry Chen a hell ride in the Built by Legends 34. Dude. Like, what? Yeah. Like, what? What are you even talking about right now? Like, dude. What? Like, that was mind-blowing because I saw a few other guys just take some laps in the Built by Legends car. Dude, one of them passed me, like, he was hammering so hard, like I tucked a turd because I was like, what the hell was that? And it's just that thing just full out, just ripping, dude. And so then to see like the Mines founder jump in there and run his creation around that track was just like, damn. Yeah. Again, seeing the Tokyo Drift Evo out there, was like, damn, like it was. That track day was for sure, for me at least, the highlight. I mean, like, Daigo's was sweet, but, like, that was like, wow. Like, these are all dudes just like us that just love these cars like us and in their own way have found their way here today, right? Yeah. And, like, again, there was no I'm cool, too cool for you type thing. We had conversations with just about everybody. Yeah. Asked Dustin Williams about his Mississippi plates on the Evo, which was wild. He explained it to us. Basically, he applied for a pass for a year, which allows him to use the car here with his plates. Yeah. We just assumed he had diplomatic immunity because he's Dustin Williams, but I guess not. Right. But yeah, Larry Chen, cool to talk to. Like everybody was really sweet. So that right there was like, oh, okay, wow, these cars really can bring somebody who 10 million people know and 10 people know together, and it's like all good. And it was cool. We got to hear the story of Kaido House.
Oh yeah,
and we'll be bringing him on the podcast. That's I'm really excited about that.
Me too. That dude's a G.
Yeah, he really is. And so yeah, that track day was great. Like shout out to Top Rank for that. That was like super legit of them to let us all experience that and have Fuji to ourselves for a whole day.
So sick.
And so, you know, at this point, it's pretty late in the day. It's like 5 p.m. We wanted to hit the museum before it closed over at the hotel. So, you know, we said peace to everybody and we jumped back in the car and went over to the hotel, saw the museum, you know, whatever, took a shower, did our thing, and then went back downstairs to go hit our dinner combini.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a Lawson's out there. And
right up the street.
We saw Brian and Yasko, and Yasko is like the general manager of Top Rank, period. And they stopped and talked to us. And so we're in the car. I had it started. It started up great. Battery light was still on. I turned on my lights. You know, I tried to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Turned it off so that I could hear Yaska. And then when I went to turn it back on, like it kind of took long to start, and I had to use the gas a little bit, and like I tried to in my head just chalk it up to, oh, I just turned it off and maybe it's loaded or whatever, right? And you know, we went and got our combini and came back, and that was like kind of our one chill night because every other night we had gone to bed super late.
Yeah.
And so the next morning we wanted to, because that was our last day, you know, this was Tuesday morning, our last day. We're like, all right, we should get up, we should go. We're going to stop back at A-Pit. We wanted to still put on my steering wheel. Yeah. We had to get a, T20?
Like a T30. It was a T30 tamper-proof.
Tamper-proof to swap that out. And we go down, and I'm getting my 360 camera all ready and blah.
Yeah.
Go to start it. Straight flat.
Dude,
I'm like,
nothing.
Dude, did you not connect the battery? Like, just telling myself stupid stuff. I'm like, no, dude, the car's dead. So we're like, oh, dude, we'll jump start it. Pretty big parking garage, but we definitely didn't have the oomph to get it what it needed in order to like pop that out. So now we're kind of freaking out because we're like, all right, we actually do have flights today later on. We have a few people here, but none of them have jumper cables. So we go up to the front desk, and I'm just like, is there any chance that you guys got jumper cables or whatever? It takes like 10 minutes, and then she's like, yeah, they're going to meet you down there. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Okay, yeah, we'll have to jump it from this side. No, they literally have the same exact jump pack as Aaron. Like, dude, different color.
Yeah, they had this little case in their hand. I'm like, dude, is that the same jump pack? Unzips it, and the guy hands it to me. And I'm like, dude, this is the same one. Dude, like, this is legit.
So this guy's trying to get Aaron to read the directions. He's trying to figure out how this thing works. And the whole time, because we're so anxious about this car not starting, the whole time, me and him are just like, dude, you know how to friggin' use this thing? Just hand it over.
He's like trying to plug in the USB charger for whatever reason to it. I'm like, dude, no, just hear it. Like,
he finally like gets it from him, and he does it. And dude, she starts right up. And, then we got our combini breakfast and we headed in and we went to A-Pit again, got our tamper-proof thing, did a little last-minute shopping. And I went to get a macchiato from the Starbucks. I give Aaron the T30. I come downstairs literally after getting my drink, and the dude's already got the steering wheel almost all the way changed. And I'm like, holy moly, dude. All right, I got it.
Yeah, like you got to get to the airport, man.
Yeah, dude.
Gotta get out of here.
There's nowhere missing this plane. So, and then, we had some other guys come and talk to us and really spend more time having us talk to them than it took to change out a whole 34 steering wheel.
Yeah, seriously, dude. I swapped it out, cleaned the interior.
Yeah, dude, literally spit shine the exhaust out. But, it was cool. They're other enthusiasts, and, they were just into what we're doing. And so at this point, it's time to bring the car back to Top Rank. They are gracious enough to have a cab there waiting for us pretty much. We check out a few of their cars, we turn in our car, and we're on our way. An hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes back to Narita. And then he takes his limousine bus again back to Haneda. And at that point, you know, we're pretty much done the trip. I'm like, hey, I'll see you in Maine. And we kind of went our separate ways. He had his flight to Atlanta and then Atlanta up here to Maine.
By the way, worst airport ever.
Yeah, no go on Atlanta. You already knew that. I already knew that.
Yeah, just hope you don't have to stop in Atlanta. Holy cow, that is the worst reintroduction to the United States.
Ever. Yeah, you walk out and you really get Japression. Yeah. You're like, dude, can I jump back on the plane? I know this says no, but like,
dude,
can
stow away. I don't care, whatever.
No, and that is the hardest part about going to Japan is we have these amazing experiences that we're obviously totally blessed to have because other people could go to Japan 5 times and never do some of the stuff that we've gotten to do. And so, yeah, we definitely realize we're super blessed, but in being blessed, we have met some really cool people that have brought us even more opportunities that, you know, hopefully continue to come. For sure. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm already trying to figure out when I can go back.
Dude,
I'm already
I'm like when?
Dang, when's the next like event that's like, you know, worth going and whatever. And I wish we could have stayed a little longer because there was a final bout going on that would have been a really awesome time. I would say like overall, because we went last April, May, I went in October, November, and now January. Yeah, April, May's weather, well, October's weather was actually the best, like all around so far. You know, I mean, it wasn't bad this time, but it did get a little chilly sometimes, and you really had to be prepared for it.
Chapped lips.
And it was a different cold than up here in Maine. It was
cold.
weird, but yeah, I mean, that kind of wraps up this episode. Feel free. Hit us up in the DMs. Follow us at RHDGUIS. He's at Blunt Garage. We'd be glad to answer any questions you have about Japan, Fat Five Land, anything, you know, Fuji Speedway, whatever you got, hit us up. You know, make sure to subscribe on the YouTube so you can get the video version of this. You know, sometimes we can put in some cool clips that really bring together what we're saying. But for episode 53, with a little bit of Japression, I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
See ya.
Peace.